What's going on, YouTube? It's the Great Patriot here, back with the 2K15, and in this video right here, I'm gonna need you guys' help. I'm gonna need you guys to look on the annotation on your screen if you're on a laptop, a desktop, or whatever. If you can't find the annotation on your screen, look in the description below. I'm gonna need you guys to vote on my League series. Which franchise should I take over? I also put it on my Twitter, and I put all my information again on the bottom. Be sure to follow that, because when I start this My League series, and even when I get parts, maybe even on Madden, I'm gonna start live streaming. Now, with enough of the intros, let's get into it. As you see, the first team on the list is the Charlotte Hornets, and this team is pretty good. They got Al Jefferson 2 years ago. I'm sorry, last year in free agency, which gave them a start. They lost to the Heat in the first round, but they picked up a key free agent in Lance Stevenson, who's pretty good. One of my favorite players in the NBA. He provided a spark to that Pacers team, which is what I like. A spark, a toughness, and he really challenged LeBron, which I really like to see in him and see in my players. So we got Gilchrist there, and we got Zeller, but we drafted Noah Vonleh, so maybe Zeller can go, and Gilchrist, maybe he can go as well too. Now, as you saw right there, the next team on the list, the Denver Nuggets, and out of all the teams that I've decided to narrow it down to, this team is probably the most well-balanced team there is. Just look at this roster. I believe 2 or 3 players on this team have lower than a 70 overall rating. Look at all these guys. All these guys can be a starter on another team. All my role players. Look at Nate Robinson. He could start on another team. Randy Ford can probably start on another team. JaVale McGee can probably start on another team. Even Timothy Mozgov. So we have a lot of players that we can work with, and even if we it's like they don't work out with us, we can always trade them, because these guys have excellent trade value. They can easily come in as a role player or as a starter, depending on what another team needs them as. So if we pick this team, we can be thinking championship, but this will be more team-oriented basketball, more plays being run, more not just relying on talent. So this is what this team will be about. So if y'all vote for this team, then that's what I will pick for the series. Now, the next team on this list, another team that's like team-oriented, is the Washington Wizards. But the difference is they actually have a superstar. Ty Lawson was good, but he's not a John Wall. John Wall played like a top 5 point guard last year. One of the best point guards in the game. Don't forget, they have Bradley Beal right next to him, a deadly shooter. They got the true Paul Pierce as leadership, and also for that clutchness in the fourth quarter. And then the 2 Twin Towers, Gortat and Nene, played excellent in the playoffs, especially against the Chicago Bulls. They seemed unstoppable. And as you see on the bench, even though we don't have that many guards or forwards that's good, we have a lot of big men off the bench, so potentially we can trade one of them. Seraphin, Humphries, Blair, or even Drew Gooden we can trade for. Also, you see Otto Porter. He's supposed to have high potential, so maybe we can trade for him and maybe get a better small forward if we throw in a pick for him and actually have a small forward to come off the bench. Now, next team on the list, the New York Knicks, and you guys already know they have a star player. They probably have the best player on their team, that the 6 teams that I'm choosing from. They have Carmelo Anthony, just a bona fide scorer. They even have J.R. Smith, another scorer. This team, though, is all about the offense. We will need to work on its defense, because they did trade Tyson Chandler for Jose Calderon. Even though they got a floor general, again, more offense, they don't really have any defense. The only defensive person is Iman Shumpert. So we'll have to work on the defense for this, but this is another well-rounded team. Even though Bargnani is a lot in cap, we don't need him for real, because after this year, he's going to be gone off the books. So he can stay, but potentially we can even trade for somebody else, just so we can build off of that with them. So this is a pretty good team right here. Like I said, maybe the goal with this team probably is to try to get into the Eastern Conference Finals, even the NBA Finals with this team, because we have Carmelo Anthony, and then try to have a superstar next to them, try to build a big 3 with Carmelo. Next team on this list, probably the worst team out of all the teams that I narrowed down to, is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, if you guys already know what happened with the Timberwolves, they don't have Kevin Love anymore, but they do have supposedly the next LeBron, Andrew Wiggins. They still have Nikola Pekovic, don't get me wrong about that. They still have Kevin Martin. They got Thaddeus Young in that trade. They still have Ricky Rubio, and they picked up Mo Williams, who's a deadly scorer, to come off the bench Corey Brewer, he's a nice guard to have. JJ Barea, he's a nice backup guard to have. Gordy Zhang's a big body to have. So all this team right here, even Zach LaVine, he has pretty high potential. So we got Anthony Bennett, but I'm not really that big of a fan with him. So this team right here is just based off potential that we just have to hope for the best for this year and just try to build next year with this team. So that's all this team is about. So maybe we can trade Rubio because of his potential. Maybe we could trade Anthony Bennett. There's a lot of guys we can trade on this team because of their potential. So if you guys vote for this team, maybe you'll see a lot of trades going on with this team because of the trade value. The last team on this list will be the Portland Trail Blazers. And this right here probably will be the best team out of all of them for the list, like the best overall team, because they have a 1-2 punch. The pick and roll game will be nasty with Lillard and Aldridge. You got a guy Lillard emerging as a superstar, emerging into his prime, and a guy like Aldridge who's kind of in his prime, but he's coming out. We have Nicholas Batum, Wesley Matthews, and Robin Lopez to finish out the starting lineup, which is pretty good. But the weakness on this team is we don't really have a bona fide scorer we can just hand the ball off to, and he'll just take it from there. So that's pretty much it. With this team, we'll have to build a bench for it. We got McCollum, we got Wright, we have Robinson, but I guess, like I said before, we don't have that bona fide scorer. So this is the end of the episode. Be sure to vote, hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share this video with your friends, and I'll talk to you guys later. Alright, y'all? Peace.